Hey guys, Joe Madden, the Joe Madden Sports Podcast here. I'm joined today by John Suchan, Cleveland podcast host. Johnny Cleveland pod. Oh my God, I cannot get the words out of my mouth, John. I swear, before we started this, I said, let me not butcher your intro. And that's exactly what I did. I want to say you are a contributor for King James Gospel. You have a podcast, the
Yes.
Johnny Cleveland podcast. You also contribute for the Dog Pound Daily. You're doing incredible work within the space. Now that I'm finally able to get it out of my mouth, you threw me right before you guys. We were talking about my Calgary Flames down 3-1 in this series. And that's all I could think about. The heartbreak from last night, still almost like crying as I talk about it, John. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Joe. Love being here. And I'm sorry that's you're an emotional wreck today because of your Flames. But you're down 3-1. That's okay. The Cavs figured it out a few years back and came back and beat the Golden State Warriors and won a championship. So you got to believe in your Flames.
Have to have faith in them. But going into last night, I was looking at a do or die situation, thinking if they went down last night's game, could they pull it back? And I was saying no. Now I'm questioning myself as a fan and as a bettor, thinking that they probably can pull it off. But my gut instinct was going into last night, if they didn't get it done, it was not going to be good. So emotionally completely drained today, John. But how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah.
How's things going in Cleveland? Are they buzzing in Cleveland right now?
We're always buzzing. We are the center of the football universe here in Cleveland. Any day you need a story, you can tune into the ESPN or any of those any outlets, and Cleveland's usually the talk of the town around the country. Yeah, it's been busy. We got Deshaun Watson in town now, and they had voluntary workout starting today over in Berea. And there's lots of people commenting on that, seeing him throwing the ball around. Obviously, Baker Mayfield is still on the roster. He will not be here. He will be either traded or released. I believe traded. We can talk about that. But so just lots of things going on with that. And we just had the re-signing of Javion Clowney, so that's big news here. To pair up with Myles Garrett.
Huge news. What do you think of that?
Oh, it's very big. The two of them combined for 25 sacks last year, and Clowney had kind of a resurgence to his career. Really like the fact that he's coming back. He's coming back at a pretty good price, about $10 million, which is guaranteed. He can earn up to about $11 million. So. Yeah, there was a comment today. Somebody was asking Anthony Walker, who's one of the Browns linebackers who re-signed, and he said that he was texting with Clowney, and Clowney responded back to him, Super Bowl. So we're always thinking Super Bowl.
Always thinking Super Bowl.
Always thinking Super Bowl, but
I would love to see you guys get a run at the Super Bowl for sure. Now, the schedule has been released. What are you thinking of the Cleveland Browns' chances with that schedule? Do you think you have a harder or easier schedule than last year?
Just, when you look at it from, I'd say probably right now, maybe a little bit easier. There's a couple stretches. The fact that we have a bye, I think in week 8 or 9, which is pretty nice. The first 4 games we start on the road at Carolina, and I actually wrote an article for Dog Pound Daily because I want to talk about that later, but about Baker and landing spots. But the Carolina Panthers are one of those teams that were kind of talked about in the mix. Could he still go there? Could the Browns end up playing him in week 1? So they got Carolina, then they got the Jets early on. Then the Jets had a really good draft. And but they'll be coming to Cleveland. So yeah, the first 4 game stretch is very winnable. There's a lot of people. We haven't won in Cleveland here. We all know that we're 1-22-1. We've won 1 game in 23 years in our season opener. So everyone's chalking up a win for us in Carolina, but I'm still holding my breath. The rest of the schedule is pretty tough. We've got Tampa Bay, we've got New England. We got to play the Saints. So it'll be interesting to see how things go. It is nice, like I said, to have that bye. So
Absolutely.
kind of in the middle. Yep.
Yeah, you gotta love when your team has a bye in that stretch, that 8-9 week point.
Yeah.
It's really hard for the teams that have that early bye or that later bye going down the stretch. So definitely a bonus for you guys. What did you think of draft? Was there anyone that you picked up in the draft that you were shocked by or that you really were impressed by?
Well, I think it starts. It started out kind of a shocker. The fact that we kind of we traded back and then we didn't draft until the third round and we picked up a corner. The last kids out of Mississippi State, Emerson, he was ranked probably 20th, 25th cornerback in the country. And so the fact that the Browns took him at, I think, number 68 was a little bit of a shock. But, the big couple picks here, and I was on a local podcast with some guys over in Oklahoma, I think called the Swampy podcast, the Sooner podcast. They're big Baker Mayfield fans, but they also talk a lot about Oklahoma Sooners. And the Browns drafted 3 Oklahoma Sooners, including Perry and Winfrey, he's a defensive tackle from Oklahoma. And I don't know if you saw any of his press conference or introductions to the Cleveland press, but he was hooting and hollering, doing the dog barking, and he was hyped more than any other draft pick that we've seen. So he's become a big fan favorite already. Talking to the folks from Oklahoma, he, I think he's going to fit in real well. He's an early 4th round pick. I mean, right at the beginning of the 4th round, but he has the potential to start because the defensive tackle position in Cleveland has been a real struggle. And so I look for him to start potentially. They also brought in Isaiah Thomas, who's a defensive end as well from Oklahoma. So, and they got a wide receiver, not Mike Williams, not the Mike Williams that was playing out in with your Chargers.
Yeah.
But I wish we had that Mike Williams. Not sure why the Browns drafted him. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think the draft went pretty well after, that first pick kind of threw some people off.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the Browns did pick up some pretty good depth. Obviously, their cornerback position is very strong. They picked up Greg Newsome last year, and they already have Greedy Williams. They've got Denzel Ward, who they just re-signed. So that's all good.
Yeah, definitely got some great strength out of Oklahoma as well. Watching both of those players play at the college level, they're going to be phenomenal additions for you. And I hear you. One of them at least could be starting there in that position. So it's going to be a great season for your Browns coming up. We've got so much quarterback question marks for you guys in Cleveland. To put it the easy way, you said Watson was out at the voluntary practices. We're not seeing Baker Mayfield. What are your thoughts on this situation? Where do you think Baker Mayfield possibly could be traded to? And do you think you'll see Deshaun Watson starting the season?
I believe, okay, so let's start with Baker. Baker probably would, couple landing spots. You got the Lions, you got Seattle. I mentioned Carolina already. I've thrown in a couple other teams too in some of the articles I've written over the last few weeks. The Houston Texans, who we just got Deshaun from potentially. And so, I've even mentioned Tampa Bay. I know Tom Brady's down there. But if Baker's willing to not, sit behind Tom for another year before Tom decides to retire again, potentially that could be a possibility. But no, I think he's
never retiring. Come on.
Yeah, right.
Tom.
I mean, he's going to be 65, and we're going to be, oh my God.
We
Tom
already tried this, and I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So, no, I think my favorites right now would be Seattle. I also like the Lions still because, previously John Dorsey, who was the general manager of the Browns, picked Baker for here in Cleveland. Now he's moved on to the Detroit Lions. People have reported seeing him in town. I know the Lions have their quarterback and Jared Goff and whatnot. So we'll see where that goes. But those would be potentially a couple teams. There's that whole thing about, will the Browns release him? I don't believe the Browns. I think Andrew Berry, the current general manager, will be somehow creative with that. I think they will, split that cost of the $19 million that they still owe Baker. So we'll see. Baker, Deshaun is winning over the fans here a little bit more every day. He's winning over his teammates. He just took them all down to the Bahamas, I believe. I don't know
Oh,
if you saw
wow.
any of that.
No, I didn't.
He took the entire offensive unit down there. So
Wow.
it's a good way to win over your teammates.
I
So
would say.
yes. I think Deshaun, who knows at this point, you and I spoke off air just for a second. I mean, a couple weeks ago, I thought, well, maybe they weren't going to have any proceedings with the court cases outside of off the field. So thinking, well, maybe he won't get suspended at all this year. And then you hear they're having these meetings in New York late last week. And now, so if I were to bet on what's going to happen, I would say he's going to start the season.
Okay.
I'll throw that out there. I'll say he's going to start the season. And we'll go from there. We're 4 months out or 3.5 months out from the season kickoff. So you never know.
It seems like a long time when we say 3-4 months out from the start of the season, but this is going to go in a blink of an eye. I can't wait for the season to kick off. When do our Chargers and the Browns play?
Ooh.
I was meaning to look this up before you came on. Forgot to. It's
well, if you
definitely
give
gonna
me,
be a
I
good
got
game.
it right here. If you give me a
Okay.
second, I can look here. But I believe it's in October.
Okay. Nice
we
and
may
early in the
have to
season.
put a wager on that one.
We will.
No, the Chargers have come to town, and that game last year, the Browns and the Chargers went back and forth. The Browns didn't have any defense. Their secondary was still kind of getting situated. And, I think the Browns had a lead there late in that game.
Yeah, I believe you guys got up on us. I was thinking about you, and then I think the Chargers just squeaked out the win in that one.
I think they did. Yeah, it was late because it was the fourth quarter. See, I'm trying to find the schedule. I thought I had it, but I may not. I believe it's either late October or it might be early November. I want to say it could be early November. Okay. Oh, here we go. All right, October 9th.
October 9th.
Circle that date.
I definitely will put it in the calendar. We should
right.
definitely do a show right before that as well, John.
Okay. That sounds good.
So that would be a lot of fun. You have so much going on. You're creating so much content with everything you do. What's your favorite part of this industry, John?
I really love the writing. I've really enjoyed working for all the groups I'm writing for right now. Dog Pound Daily, King James Gospel, which is for the Cleveland Cavaliers. All those two groups are through fan-sided, and then Cleveland Sports Talk too kind of gave me my start, and have enjoyed working with them too. I really like the writing part of it. I love the podcasting and being Johnny Cleveland. I was the original Johnny Cleveland, so people might ask about the old Johnny Manziel, but I was well before Johnny Manziel.
Okay, so when and where can we find the Johnny Cleveland podcast?
Gosh, you can find us everywhere. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify. If you follow me on Twitter at my name, John Suchan. So if you see it there on the screen, find me there on Twitter, and you can follow all those places for the podcast and all my writing, and usually get out 3-4 articles a week for the Cleveland Dog Pound Daily, and look to be writing a lot more as we get into a training camp and the season.
I love it. Now, Dog Pound Daily is spelt, the dog spelt DAWG, correct, John?
That's the only way to spell it.
Absolutely is. Well, I'm excited. I know the articles you are putting out are fantastic. I can't wait to hear another one of your podcasts. Are they available on YouTube for people as well?
Some of them have been, yes, but
Okay.
I need to do that more. They are. Yeah, if you do Google or if you go to YouTube, type in Johnny Cleveland podcast, you will find me.
Absolutely. You guys make sure you go over and subscribe on YouTube as well.
That'd
Follow John on Twitter. You guys will see all of the links for his Twitter in the description below. John, I appreciate your time today. All the best to your Cleveland Browns next season, except for what, October 9th?
Yeah, we're going to kill you, but that's okay.
That's for another show. I appreciate your time today. All the best.
Thanks,
and
Joe.
Thank you for joining me here.
Enjoy that cup of coffee.
Oh, you know what? I don't have one on my desk right now. Maybe that's why I stumbled at the start of the show. That cup of coffee is needed.
You're an emotional wreck. I get it. Okay. Go Flames.
Go Flames, go. It's going to be a tough night tomorrow. Friday's shows will not be very pleasant in the morning if it doesn't go well. No, I'll be fine. Just stumble over my words, and I jinxed myself right before.
You did. You were fine. I mean, she was fine. And then she gets on air and she just,
you know
what it was? On my podcast.
Yeah, it kind of moved things around here, and I threw myself because I'd clicked on the wrong tab and then just went, when you freeze.
Right. So. Can't happen again. All right. Can't happen again.
Let's knock on wood.
Enjoy following you on the Joe Madden Sports. Keep up the good work yourself.
Thank you, John. Have a great night, you guys. I will be back at the bottom of the hour with another Joe Madden Sports podcast. Thank you, John. We'll definitely have you on again soon.
Take care.